Tell me, what was the series of events in your life that led you to building a giant space gun?
I am an economist by training. I have a bachelor's degree in economics. I have a master's degree in molecular biology. I've always cared about space, but I knew I never quite had the math chops to be an aerospace engineer. So I decided
Okay.
to do kind of the next mathiest thing I found interesting, which was economics. But like I'd gone to like a bunch of Mars Society meetings as a
Mhm.
kid, and like I just super into space, man. And so in my undergraduate, I was at a community college, and I took I knew I was getting a degree in economics, but I had to do a science course as a requirement for my associate's degree. And I asked my professor if I could do an extra credit project on using engineered microorganisms to terraform Mars. And she said,
Okay.
like, bro, I'm not going to stop you. Like, knock yourself.
Yeah.
And I ended up turning that into a 10-minute YouTube video because 10 minutes was as long as YouTube videos could be at the time, right? Because it was like it felt really bad putting a lot of love into that project, and then at the end of the semester you put it in the garbage can and you never see it again. So
Sure.
I made a YouTube video out of it, and then a guy working at NASA Ames Research Center in an astrobiology lab
Uh-huh.
saw it. You should come work for me for no money for a summer, and I said, of course. So I got in my car. I drove from North Carolina to the Bay Area, and I never went back. I ended up moving into a co-op because like it's incredibly expensive to live. I was
Mm.
working literally. The cool thing about working for NASA is they can pay you minimum wage. And when I say minimum wage, I mean federal minimum wage. So I'm living in the
Yeah.
Bay Area, working for 7.20 an hour, cleaning beakers and doing PCRs all day long. And
Mm.
I moved into a house in Cupertino with like 8 other people, actually more like 13 other people. It was started by a bunch of people who were working at the center, NASA Ames.
Okay.
And it was actually the house where Planet Labs started.
Wow.
We were like building satellites in the garage. That was actually my introduction to startups. So I'm
Cool.
like living in a bunk bed, sleeping on a bunk bed upstairs in a room with like 4 other guys. And then
Mm.
in the garage, there's these people trying to start an Earth observation company in like 2012, 2013.
Mm.
Um, so I want to say that's kind of like my life took a hard pivot, right? In that, like, I'm
Mhm.
studying economics in North Carolina, and then all of a sudden, I'm working at NASA Ames Research Center as a mere technician, but like I'm surrounded in this kind of milieu of people who are doing like space biosciences,
Mm.
and that was a huge shift in like the trajectory of my life.